the EpicVerse Podcast.
So yeah, it's crazy. So what do you guys think is going on with that? What do you guys think is the whole reasoning behind that?
I have heard a very interesting theory about this.
Yeah.
And it gets a little deep. We're getting ready to go down the rabbit hole.
Let's do it. Let's freaking go, baby.
All right. So what I have heard the theory about this is that the conspiracy behind it is that when people of high power and scientific standing go back in time and change things, that it affects our reality in a way that changes small things that are like affected. That's what I've heard. Mm-hmm. So I've heard that like there's time travel theories, that they actually figured out time travel, and that just little minor changes happen when they make small alterations, which is why things look different than they do. That's one of the ones that I've heard. My favorite one, though, and this is my absolute favorite of the theories, is that we are in an alternate timeline where basically what happens is when there's like a catastrophic event that happens in our timeline that causes like everything to end, the world to end, or bad things to end, or if somebody opens up a wormhole in our universe, whatever, that reality tries to correct itself by coming to the closest possible timeline to the previous one that was damaged. And so like minor changes that happen like this, like Berenstein to Berenstain, because it was just a minor change, but like everything else in our timeline is pretty much the same. But that as we get closer and closer to like the end, that like there'll be more and more Mandela Effect changes and more like little things that are remembered, that until one day it's all completely different.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what they're basing the most recent thing off of with like 2012, right? Because that's kind of like the end of the world that was supposed to happen and stuff. And so people are like, oh, well, you know, that makes sense, because a lot of people thought that Nelson Mandela died in 2013 and stuff, you know? So, as far as like the Mandela Effect goes and stuff, like it could, I don't know. I'm open to the idea of like parallel, I guess, timelines being split up and stuff because of chaotic events that happen or whatever. But it could also just be something like, you know, our brains like try to make sense of a certain image or something, and that's how we perceive it in our minds. And when we find out that's not how it actually is, and our brains are like, whoa, what? You know, so it could be just something like that, something simple like that.
Well, it could be like a collective like laziness just as human beings, that like Stein is easier than Stain to say. So it could just be everybody's like Berenstein, because that's just the way that they pronounce it. Because like we have weird ways of pronouncing things where we live. Apparently. True. And we call like soda pop. But I call it pop because that's how I grew up. But other people are like, it's soda.
Dude, I flip out on people when they call it soda.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'll come at you like a spider monkey.
Chip, I'm going to come at you like a spider monkey.
Yeah. But like, no, it's not. It's pop.
Yeah, it's pop.
Pop. Yeah,
come on.
Pop. People are like, no, it's soda. And I'm like, no, you can.
Do you not realize how stupid you sound when you say soda?
Yeah.
Soda.
What about
soda pop?
And drinking soda pop.
That's even worse.
Well, yeah, that's just trying to play the both sides of the fence, and that'll get you a loss every time.
Yeah, because everybody hates you.
Yeah,
you're just like, whoa.
You're like, get out.
The reason I'm telling you all this is because I'm playing both sides so that I always come out on top.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So I don't know. I think the idea is really interesting. One of my favorite like things in I know Ben hates this book, but whatever. In Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, like the whole point of the book is these guys trying to find out the meaning of life, the universe, and everything. Well, they already found out the answer. Like these alien species find out the answer, and the answer is 42.
42.
But then they don't know what the question is. So they have to figure out what the question of life, the universe, and everything is. So they build Earth, which is like a giant supercomputer, to like compute the answer. And in the book, it's like minutes before the computer finishes compiling the answer, it gets destroyed. By an alien species to make way for a space highway. But one of my favorite things is that I think it's in the second or third book there's like a little excerpt at the very beginning that says if somebody ever does discover the answer to life, the universe, and everything, and the question to life, the universe, and everything, that the universe will just like completely like implode and create something even more chaotic.
Like yeet itself.
Just because
like, peace, I'm out.
Yeah. So then it's like, it doesn't even matter if you actually figure it out, because it'll probably just make something more chaotic, because how dare you? And so sometimes it almost feels like, what if like that's what's been happening? Like, what if slowly over time, like people have figured things out, and the universe is like scrambling to like screw it all up for us? Like there's just some like just this weird like chaotic like energy that's just like, no, like you can't figure me out, you don't know me,
You don't know me.
that just tries to completely like throw everything off. So it's like, you know what, all right, fine, it's Berenstain now. Okay, fine, it's Jif peanut butter. You're like, I thought it was Jiffy. It's like, shut up, you know. So like that's sometimes how it feels. Or like even, and it's all little stuff, but it's enough stuff to like, it's that like weird gaslighting feeling where you're like, yeah, like one thing, two things, but like when there's a bunch of things that add up that you're like, no, I distinctly remember this being something, it just starts to feel a little weird.
You start to think that you're crazy or something, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's such a weird thing. I guess I don't know if we'll ever know the true answer to it really, but
if we ever find out.
The theories are great.
The theories are what's up.
But yeah, it kind of makes me think of like, and I absolutely hate this movie. I hate this movie.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
But the Indiana Jones 4.
Oh yeah, King of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah, terrible movie. But
it's awful.
But the one scene that I found to be very interesting was at the end when Kate Blanchett's character like had like the power to know everything, and then she like basically blew up because she couldn't handle all of that, you know. I was
like, oh my gosh,
because that's literally what it would be like. Like if like I don't think a human could process everything.
No,
you know, like that, like they wouldn't be able to just comprehend it, and you'd die. You just you'd blow up. You'd explode.
Speaking of, just as a little thing.
Yeah.
About that, about that little Indiana Jones movie. So apparently when they were George Lucas and Steven Spielberg were making it together, the conversation they had was George was like, well, we should do Aliens. We should absolutely do Aliens. And Steven Spielberg was like, nah, George, you did Star Wars and I did E.T. and, you know, Close Encounters of the Third Kind and stuff. Like, no, we don't need to do more Aliens. And George was like, well, I don't know. I think Aliens are a good idea. Steven Spielberg was like, we'll table it. We'll talk about it some other time. So then apparently they part ways and they come back together to work on the story again. And George is like, hey, check this out. I got a new idea. What about extra dimensional beings? And Steve's like, okay. I'll bite. What do they look like? He goes, they look just like aliens. And at that point, Steven Spielberg basically realized he couldn't argue with George Lucas about it anymore. So he just gave him what he wanted.
It's so funny.
So it's just funny to me that like even the whole thing about aliens was literally just Steven Spielberg giving George Lucas what he wanted. He's just like, whatever, George.
It doesn't make any sense.
No.
Not at all.
Indiana Jones as a story. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Nope.
No.
You're just like, wait, why are there aliens?
Yeah.
You know, like, why did we even need this story? We didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but George Lucas wanted aliens, man. So
hey, man. George gets whatever George wants, you know?
George gets what he wants.
Well, he got sort of what he wanted because he literally just made them extra dimensional beings.
Yeah, true.
Exactly like aliens.
Yeah.
It's like
they just never called them aliens. So
yeah.